That's Justin's. Justin, move your thing. No, she's presenting. He didn't want to sit next to you? Hi, Jill didn't get a ticket. Okay, in the interest of time, we'll get started. We have Therese she's passing out raffle tickets and should be done shortly. Thank you for coming today. I know you could be a lot of places, but you're here with us, so we appreciate it. We will open up with Chaplain Chad, a word of prayer, and the pledge.
Thank you, Erilyn. Will you please stand for a prayer and the pledge? And I have the winning ticket on mine, so if you got a ticket from me, you're in good shape. All right, except Stan's. All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day, and we celebrate that today is Valentine's Day, and Lord, it's a celebration of love, and we also think of Saint Valentine, someone who is known for going around and doing good. And Lord, may we be inspired by that to continue to go around and do good to others and just spread and share love around in the folks and places that we have influence. So we thank you for this day. Thank you for our meeting. We pray your blessing today, Lord, as we meet together. Thank you for Erilyn, for Ryan, for their leadership here on campus. Lord, bless them as they lead us. Thank you for our residents and fellow staff members that we all are here journeying together, and we thank you. And just ask your continued blessing upon this day. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
So it's February already. Where's the time going? I need it to slow down just a little bit so that I can try and keep up. But we will continue with our department reviews to share with residents that have been here for quite some time and those new residents about services that are offered here on campus. Today we have a presentation particularly about Oak Bridge Terrace. And I know that a lot of you in the room have had questions about, what are the requirements? Do you have any room? A myriad of questions that I'm hopeful that will be answered today. We are actually waiting for Clancy. She is traveling over here right now. She should be here within 2 minutes. She had some pressing issues over at Oak Bridge Terrace. Actually, I see her walking in right now. So if you can allow her to catch her breath, we will continue with the department presentation for Oak Bridge Terrace. And just for something to look forward to, next month at this Ask the Director meeting, we will be featuring Lissy Matthews about nurse practitioner services. So without further ado, did you catch your breath yet? I did. We will bring up Clancy and Jessica.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. So my name is Jessica Winton. I am the Administrator of Health Services for Oak Bridge Terrace and Willowbrook Court. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about Oak Bridge Terrace and the services that are offered at Oak Bridge Terrace. Clancy Williams is our registered nurse and the director of assisted living. So I'm going to introduce Clancy and let her take over.
Hello, everyone. How are you? So, I would like to tell you all a little bit about Oak Bridge Terrace, which, as a lot of you know, is the assisted living facility that is here on campus. As I like to call it, it is the middle piece to your continuum of care. So, on our first slide here, it shows you some of the team members for OBT. In this photo, we have some of our culinary, our life enrichment, our nursing team, and even our environmental team. So if you're ever around in Oak Bridge Terrace, those are a lot of the familiar faces that you will see. So a little more about OBT. We are staffed with a nurse and CNAs 24 hours a day, every day, no matter if it's a holiday or not. Some of the services that we do provide are assistance with medications. Now, that could range from us giving you a reminder to say, hello, did you take your medication today? Or us coming in with your medication and handing it to you. Or if we have to assist you with something as far as like drawing up insulin or your B12 injections, we can do that as well because we do have licensed nurses that do the medication passes. Other things that our CNAs assist you with are what we call ADLs, or activities of daily living. And that includes things like dressing, showering. We do help put on the TED hose or support stockings that everyone loves to try on their own. We also help with, some of our residents have the support or compression wraps, and we are also able to apply those as well. Our CNAs, we help with laundry services, and we make everyone's beds daily if they choose to let us do so. So we have a schedule. It's usually at least once a week. Our residents' laundry gets picked up. We wash it, dry it, and we fold it and return it to you, or we put it on hangers and return it to you. Also, we have a couple residents that choose to do it themselves, but it's not something, they want that we ask them to do. It's just their preference. So. Other things we offer are housekeeping services. Approximately once a week, housekeeping comes around. They sweep, they mop, keep the room nice and tidy for you for, just general housekeeping services. Now, between the nurses and the CNAs, we are in your room at least once a day because medications are kept in the rooms. So we will be at least once a shift taking out the garbage in your apartments for you, so you don't have to worry about finding the waste bins. We also provide assistance with making appointments to see your primary care or any specialist that you've been referred to. We also provide assistance with making arranging transportation. Now, I will say we do not provide the transportation or cover the cost of the transportation, but we will help to make sure that someone is there to pick you up to get you from point A to point B on the day for your appointment to get you there timely. We also have a beautician who comes once a week. And there's a salon. It's a nice little salon that sits on the second floor next to the elevator. And in addition to that, we have a lovely 19-bed secure memory care unit for our residents that are cognitively impaired and need a little bit more supervision than the rest of us would. So on our next slide here, we have a picture of Kylie Brown and Casey Voorhees. Kylie is our life enrichment coordinator, and Casey is one of her assistants. So things that Kylie has other team members, we just unfortunately didn't get a picture of them, but things that they do to help out around OBT and to make life, much better and more enriched, as we like to say. We have monthly resident council meetings. So the resident council meetings are similar to this meeting, Ask the Director. It's basically a platform in which we use to update residents on different changes throughout the building. We discuss resident concerns, just generally, like a general information session, similar to the way this one is. We also have bingo, which everyone seems to really love in OBT. We have great prizes, by the way. We do a daily exercise group. We do it in memory care. We also do it on the first floor in regular OBT. It is chair exercises, so residents do it at their own level in which they're, comfortable with. We also do word games. We do cornhole. We have live entertainment every other week. And we even have a drum circle the weeks opposite of our live entertainment. So it's actually quite fun. We also do what we call a lunch bunch. So the residents choose a restaurant that they would like to go out to lunch for. We do it once a month, and then Kylie makes arrangements for residents that sign up to be able to go out to lunch that day to the resident that they've previously chosen the month prior. We also set up trips to the movies. We do scenic rides. We also do other outings. And one thing that we've recently started doing, which I think is a really great thing, is we've started incorporating our outings or even activities for our memory care unit and inviting their significant others or just their family members to attend those activities with them. So on our next slide are 2 pictures of our dining rooms. The slide that will be on your right is our first floor dining room, which is Turtle Sands. The slide that's on your left is our second floor dining room, which is Ocean Breeze. So some of the things with our dining rooms are we prepare breakfast in each dining room. There's a small kitchen in each dining room for culinary staff to make breakfast for the residents. We also have on the first floor, there's our main kitchen for OBT. So our lunch and dinner are prepared there and then taken to the other locations, the other 3 dining rooms to be served to our residents. Our serving for all of our meals is a collaboration between culinary and nursing department, nursing team. So culinary, they are making sure that your food is cooked for you and they prepare it, they plate it, while our nursing team, we're there to actually deliver your meals to the table waiter style. So what we do is you get a menu, usually the day before, and with the selections for each meal for that day. You choose your selections, and when it is time for the meal to be served, we already know what you're wanting, and we'll start to serve it to you, in order of your soup, your salad, and then your main entree and desserts. We also do a monthly food forum with culinary, just so that they can give us, we can give them feedback and get new ideas of things that the residents do and don't like. Okay, our apartments. Now, all of our apartments are 1-bedroom suites with the exception of memory care. They have a kitchenette, which consists of a microwave. You see the sink, some storage cabinets, and also a refrigerator. All the rooms have private bathrooms and bedrooms. And some of the things not to bring into OBT are things with heating elements, such as regular coffee makers, your irons, your toaster ovens. And the reason behind that is that we prepare all of the meals for our residents, 3 meals a day in the dining rooms. We also, because a lot of our residents, not all of them, but a lot of them have some sort of cognitive impairment. So with that being said, we don't want anyone to leave their coffee maker on and, the last little bit of coffee evaporates, or they happen to set a dish towel too close to the coffee maker or the toaster oven while it's hot, and then it causes a small fire or even just the smoke. It will set off the alarms. Another thing about our units in OBT are they all have a closet. The bathroom, as you see, which is the picture in the middle, has lots of storage in it to give you a little bit of extra storage. And you can bring over, when you do move into OBT, you're bringing your own furnishings with you. So having your drapes and your valances hung is something that maintenance can help you with. It's another way for you to put your own personalizing touches, on this space, because this is your home while you're there. So just some other spaces that we have in OBT. So the picture that is to your left, that is the picture of the spa tub that is in this spa room on the second floor in OBT. Any resident in OBT is welcome to use it. We do have to have a staff member present for safety purposes. but it's a great way if you just like to soak versus taking a regular shower sometimes. There's also a television in that window that sits there in front of it, so you can watch television while you're soaking. Quite a luxury, I tell you. The space in the middle, that is actually a sitting area that is outside of our Ocean Breeze dining room on the second floor. We have a puzzle table that's off in the corner. There's a television. And while the fireplace does not emit real heat, it's still really nice to look at sometimes. Then the other space that is to your far right, that is a space that is on the first floor. There's a television there. There's multiple tables and little sitting areas. That is actually at the north end of the building, just next to the entrance into the LEC. So I'll tell you some other things. Criteria to move into OBT. One of the things is you must be able to ambulate independently. And when I say ambulate independently, that means you're able to get from point A to point B without the assistance of someone else. Now, you can do that basically by walking without any assistive devices. You can do that by using a walker or a cane. You can also do that by using a wheelchair that you can mobilize on your own, or in an electric scooter or an electric wheelchair. So that is what I mean when I say be able to ambulate independently. As long as you're able to do one of those things safely, that puts you as independently ambulatory. Now, another thing is to qualify for OBT is you must need assistance with some type of ADL or your medications. And when I say that, that means that you need help with, you can put on your top just fine, but you may need help pulling up your pants or putting on your shoes. You may need help with only tying your shoes. You may be someone that needs a lot of help with your shoes and your stockings, or you can do everything on the lower half fine, but you have problems when it comes to, say, buttoning up your shirts or even pulling shirts over your head because you have shoulder issues. Another thing is that your primary care physician also has to sign a form. The state of Florida requires it, stating that you have a need for assisted living. They have to verify what your need is as well. So, like I said, we can do the assistance with the medications. It could be more of you're physically able, but cognitively you can't live at home alone, which is perfectly fine. That's what assisted living is there for. Other things to remember is that each resident's situation is going to be slightly different from the next. So what I suggest to any resident, if you are interested in OBT or you feel that your loved one or even your neighbor, reach out to myself or Becky, and we can at that time set up a time to come and visit with that particular resident and discuss whether or not they're appropriate to move into OBT. Now, from our last meeting we did, one of the questions that I was asked is, what makes you not eligible for OBT? So on the more independent spectrum of not being eligible, we have lots of residents in the community that they belong to clubs outside of ACTS. So they go out once a day or several times a week and they go golfing. You're able to drive yourself there. You complete a golf game without any difficulties. You get around. You don't require assistance with anything. Those are residents that you're too high functioning for assisted living. You are wonderful in independent living. If you are the sole caregiver of your spouse, meaning you do everything for them, you're preparing their meals, you're managing their medications, you're making sure they're the ones getting showered and dressed and so on, then your spouse may be appropriate for OBT or Willowbrook, but you be too high functioning. You do really well staying in independent living. On the other spectrum of it, if you have pressure ulcers, so pressure ulcers, if they're staged at a stage 3 or 4, then unfortunately OBT cannot accept you, and that is not an ACTS policy. That's actually a regulation by the state of Florida, that those people with those wounds, until they heal, cannot be in assisted living facilities. Also, if you have issues as to where you're not able to be independently mobile, or you need to, you can't assist us when it comes down to dressing you. We can do the showering, bathing aspect of it, but the dressing is something we can assist you with. Other things are if people with trachs, people with G tubes. What else? Oh, yeah, and IVs as well. We cannot do IVs in assisted living. Those residents are residents that may be more appropriate for Willowbrook, even if it's for a short-term stay. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, specialists that come into OBT. Now, a lot of our residents see their own doctors outside of the facility, or they see Lisi, who is here in the building. But we have a podiatrist that comes to the, OBT and will see our residents. We have a dermatologist that comes once a month to see the residents. We also have a dental group that will come out. We can make arrangements for them to come out and see our residents that need dental care that are not able to get out to their private dentist. We have a company that comes out and will do our x-rays, our Dopplers, and our EKGs so that we don't have to send our residents to the hospital or over to a radiology center to have those things done. We have the lab that comes 6 days a week, and the beauty about the lab is when you have lab work, all you have to do is when they knock on your door, just tell them they can come in, tell them your name, and then stick your arm out, and they'll do the rest. And then you roll over and go back to sleep. And the lab results get sent to your doctor, and we get an immediate response if there's something that needs to be done. Well, within the same day, if there's something that the doctor needs us to be done. Let's see. Oh, and also, we can't forget about our wonderful therapy group. A lot of our residents receive outpatient therapy in OBT. It keeps them stronger, keeps them there longer. Some of them are getting it because they have a general decline and they want to improve. Others are getting it because there's an actual need for it. But you can also receive therapy, which is billed as outpatient therapy to your insurance, just like it is for you here in independent living. Miss anything? Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Okay, thank you, Clancy. It's a very good review.
Thank you.
The only question I have was concerning the transportation, because if someone's in independent living, there's a sign-up sheet that they can sign to go to a particular doctor, and there is no fee. So when you mentioned you can arrange transportation, but there's a fee, I'm confused about that.
So our residents in OBT, once you move into assisted living, then we are responsible for you 24 hours a day, unless you're out with your family or somewhere. So with that being said, because majority of the residents have some type of cognitive impairment, having them on the bus to get dropped off at a general location and then having to wait is not always the best situation for that resident. So we like them to be picked up at the front door of OBT, dropped off at the front door of their doctor's appointment, if it's not a resident that actually has a companion that attends the appointment with them, and then also brought back to OBT. That eliminates them having to wait for the bus to cycle around. Now, I know that the bus that everyone uses, they have set times that they leave, drop everyone off, they'll circle around and drop everyone off, and then they will make a loop back around to pick everyone up. So with that being said, unfortunately, some of those appointments, you may be out for a few hours. With our residents, it is working better for them if they're using the transportation services, because they're dropped off, they're picked up, they're not late for their appointments, and they're also not having to wait for someone to come back to get them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a question about the eating hours, the dining hours. For instance, when is breakfast served?
So breakfast starts at 7:30 in the morning. Now, the thing to remember with each meal, so breakfast starts at 7:30, lunch starts at 11:30, dinner starts at 4:30. Most of our residents are in there at those times. Some of them a little before, but they're in there at those times. Now, some of our residents, they're not early birds. They're not going to get out of bed and be there at 7:30. So they come in about 8:15, which is perfectly fine. Some of them will come in at 8:15, pick their breakfast up, and take it back to their apartments, which is also perfectly fine. They'll do the same thing with lunch, and they'll do the same thing with dinner. Actually, I believe it's about 5 residents for dinner that they actually come down, they pick it up at about 5:15, 5:20, and they take it back to their apartments and they eat it at a later time, which is more suitable for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I'm blind, do I qualify?
It depends on how much assistance you need. We do have some residents that are visually impaired. However, they're able to function at a pretty high level considering that they don't have their sight is not optimal. So each person is going to be different.
What is the difference between the first floor and the second floor? Is it just the luck of the draw, or is there a difference in your ability?
It is actually just luck of the draw. Now, we do, because we have, in case of an emergency, we have to know that the residents will be able to assist with evacuating the building. We tend to, some of our residents that are not as physically able to get around without their electric scooters, we try to tend to put them on keep them to the first floor, just for purposes of evacuation. But otherwise, it's luck of the draw.
Are you, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you normally almost full of residents, or is it big turnover? I'm just trying to get a feeling for the ability to accommodate people who are residents in other areas here.
So that is a very varying question. There are times when, unfortunately, someone may need to move immediately and we may not have a unit available. And there are other times that we have units available and we're looking for people to move in. So it just varies depending on the time of the, just at the time that that person has the need.
And there's also the option to, if there is a need, an urgent need, somebody could always go to Willowbrook Court temporarily, and then once a room becomes available at Oak Ridge Terrace, then they would move in at that time.
How many residents are on each floor right now, for example?
So right now, we have, it's a 66-bed building.
Okay.
And we have 53 residents, but we also have about 5 pending move-ins.
Okay, I just wanted an idea. So how many are on each floor then? 20, half and half, or?
It's almost half and half, probably 45, 55% each.
And 19 of those 66 beds are memory care beds.
Yes, 19 of those beds are memory care beds.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there charge for housekeeping and making your bed?
No, ma'am, that is included.
That's a plus.
Good morning. Question, you mentioned that the units are two-room units except for the memory care?
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
those single rooms?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can a couple move into one bedroom? Or
Yes.
does a couple go into 2 separate rooms?
So they each get assigned a room. However, they can choose to both live in one room. So for instance, I have someone that they live out of one room. The second room they're using as the living area is his man cave. The bedroom is her office. But they are assigned each to a separate room, but we know that they both sleep and pretty much maintain their residence in the one.
Marketing told us that when we moved from independent living to OBT or Willowbrook Court, there would be no difference in our monthly rate. Can you expound on that?
That is correct. So as you are a contract holder, there is no difference in your rate unless you choose a room that is one of the rooms that are larger. But just moving into a standard OBT room, your rate does not change. You're welcome. So I will say that there are some ancillary charges that do come up with OBT. The beautician, of course, is a separate charge. Some of the work orders, if it is more of a want, like you want to have a nice, lovely light fixture that you've purchased, then that is a fee-for-service charge. If it's something that is a need based on safety, then there's not a charge for that. All of your meals in OBT are included, for you being an OBT resident, 3 meals a day. Whether you eat all 3 meals in OBT or if you choose to come to the bistro or the dining room for, to supplement any of those meals. If you were to, say, purchase meals for family members, that would be an additional charge. We talked about the transportation being an additional charge. I'm trying to think what. And pharmacy. Oh, that's a big one, pharmacy. Sorry about that. So pharmacy, we are required to have our medications in what we call blister packs. So with that being said, we have a lot of people that use, especially right now, mail order pharmacies are really big because you get steep discounts on the prices. Or people are using Walgreens, Publix, whichever pharmacies and network with them. Unfortunately, in Indian River County, there's only 2 pharmacies that blister pack and will deliver to the facility. So what we have a lot of residents doing is if they want to use the mail order or they want to use whatever pharmacies in their plan because they get a better price, which we support, then they get their medicines from those pharmacies and then they have them taken to one of the 2 pharmacies that will blister pack, and then that pharmacy then delivers it to us. There are fees associated with it, and what I suggest to everyone is contacting, when you're considering to move to OBT, contacting one of those pharmacies to see if they're in plan for your network, what the cost would be for your particular medications, and also what the option would be if you just needed the blister packing. And those 2 pharmacies are Perkins Pharmacy and Osceola.
Okay. I have a question, please. Back here.
Okay.
All right. If you go to visit someone at OBT, for example, a resident here, can you get a meal and put it on our personal meal plan? Or is that allowed?
That was the case. I'm assuming it still is, but that was the case.
Okay.
Before when
That's
I
the-
was back at East. So
That's the
I'm
first
assuming
time I've been
hasn't
asked that
changed.
question, so Tim, I'm taking your answer on
Yeah,
that one.
we have to confirm with Jeff Tyler, but that was the case years ago.
Okay.
And I can't imagine that's changed.
And that's at Willowbrook Court and Oak Ridge Terrace. The only thing that we ask is if you know in advance to just let us know so we can communicate that with the
Yes.
culinary team. Thank you. You're welcome. Anyone else? Thank you, everyone.
Well, now you know everything that you need to know about OBT. Need a room? Good. Nobody in here needs a room at this time. But thank you, Clancy. We do have a new team member. Evan Hall is now on our team. He is working as the security guard. Some of you may have seen him at the front welcome gate. He is in the process of being trained. Once his training is over, he will be on the 4 to midnight shift. So he'll be here at night. He's really nice and tall. I think he's about 6'4" or 6'5". So a good person to have here at night to protect everybody. We also have Becky Madeline. She is a RN, graduate of Indian River. She will be working in our Medicare Home Health alongside Tina Katzer. This is a real success story because this young lady worked in culinary at East from 2015 through 2019. And she's back here to serve our residents as a registered nurse now. So wonderful to have her back. She has a beautiful smile, beautiful personality, so if you see her, please welcome her back with open arms. Some department updates, particularly tonight. I know that everyone is excited about birthday night and Valentine's Day being on the same day. So a lot of festivities happening on campus, not just at East, but here at West as well, which includes some dancing, some libations, free libations. I just want to ask that you don't drink too much. We do have therapy here on campus, but we don't want to have to treat anyone for a fall or breaking something. But we do want to encourage everyone to enjoy the evening. If you have a Valentine's, wonderful. If you don't, there are a few single people in the room. Perhaps they'll make themselves available. But tonight should be a fun time. As a correction, there is some dancing over at East and not over here at West because the dance floor was taken over there. But still lots of entertainment.
They can dance.
You can dance. You don't need a dance floor, but the official dance floor is over at East.
Special desserts, too.
Exactly, some special desserts. We also have coming up on February 21st, Mardi Gras themed event for Fat Tuesday. That's always a lot of fun. The theme for the cuisine will be Love the Bourbon Street Cuisine. So we're looking forward to doing that. Over at East on the 23rd, we also have Omelet Day. And that's huge for our support for our local Parkinson's and Alzheimer's Association, our local chapter. So all the money raised for the Omelet Day goes to that purpose, which is a great cause. So just a little bit of statistics, because I know we talk a lot about our challenges with finding culinary staff in particular. In the last, year to date, from the first of the year until now, we have had 15 successful hires in the culinary department. Some of them are here at West, but others are over at East. A total of 9 hires for the culinary team over at East. And the remaining 6 over here. Tim has done a great job. He had 3 new servers that started. They're onboarding, they're being trained. In addition to that, we have several more that are going through the onboarding process, which includes background checks and all of that wonderful stuff that we do before they actually come on the team. So we're really, I hope, turning a corner to be able to increase our staffing here, and ultimately with the additional training that we have planned, additional staffing, it will definitely show in the services that are provided to you in our dining venues. So overall, all of our hires, we had in total on campus 19 new hires from January 1st until yesterday. 19 in total. That includes every department. 80% of those hires were in culinary. So just wanted to share that with you. So we have environmental services. They will continue their work for annual cleanings. They're just about finished with iBuilding, and they will begin the 2023 annual cleanings for the South Villa after the iBuilding has been completed. We're actively looking for quotes for the windows to be cleaned here on campus. So last year, which seems like eons ago, we did use a company, and they used, some spray solution with water, and it wasn't quite optimal, let's just say that. So we are looking for a company that will do, the soap and water squeegee and hand dry. That has presented to be more of a challenge than we thought, but we continue to really search for someone that can do that level of work. And hopefully if they're cleaned properly, thoroughly, we won't have to do it as often. We want to try and get most of this done, of course, before hurricane season, but we're still looking for the right people to do the job. Landscaping, as soon as they receive their shipment of mulch, they will be refreshing the mulch throughout the campus. Hopefully that will happen in short order. We're hoping that it'll be this month, if not next month. But as soon as the shipment is delivered, the team will jump right in and make sure that the mulch is spread around. Several of you may have seen stakes with numbers in them, especially those that have first floor patios, right outside of your patios. Those are identifiers for residents that maintain a garden. Some of those gardens have been approved. Some of them have not been officially approved. And I don't know if you recall, but there was an updated landscape guidelines that went out last month. What the landscaping team is doing is they're identifying all of these spaces, including the ones that are ACTS approved. For the most part, the rule is if you're maintaining a separate garden and it's in great order, it's well maintained, continue to do that. Unfortunately, we've had some residents that have either started a garden, we weren't aware of the certain types of plantings, they're overgrown, they look like jungles, and they're no longer being maintained. With those, what we will do is send out a message to the residents, wait for a reply for a reasonable amount of time. If no one owns it, then what we will do is we'll make it more manageable. It could be through sod or removing some of the weeds and planting trees or bushes, whatever's most appropriate, so that it's easier for our landscape team to maintain it. So if you do have a garden, one of the things that we're finding out too is some of those gardens are not being maintained because the residents no longer live here. So in those cases, we're able to identify what needs to be done moving forward. So no worries if it's being maintained and if it's a planting that is approved. Now, if it's a planting like, I'm not very good with vegetation at all, but if it's something that is not well maintained, is overgrown, drops a lot of petals, is not approved by our landscaping team, they may request that it's pulled out. So more to come on that, but as of right now, we're just in the infancy stages and we're going in to identify where all of these plantings are. So Lissy is not here, but I wanted to share with you that we've had a lot of challenges with residents that go to Cleveland Clinic for services. And when the residents come back, particularly for independent living, not necessarily OBT or Willowbrook Court, but for independent living residents, sometimes when you have a visit at Cleveland Clinic, that information is not communicated back to Lissy as the primary care provider. And once you leave the ER or discharge from the hospital, it's very difficult to get that information. You have to request the medical records. It's a lot of hoops to jump through. So recently as this month, there is a system that we have access that will enhance the communication, particularly between Cleveland Clinic and Lissy as your primary care provider. It's called Dr. Connect. And when you go to the ER or when you're admitted to Indian River Cleveland Clinic Hospital, if you tell them that Lissy Matthew is your primary care provider, they have the ability to find her in this system. She has the ability to see all of your records remotely. So when you're discharged, after you're getting settled back into your apartment, if you can't find the paperwork to give to Lissy, she will have access to it. But the most important takeaway from what I just said is make sure that Cleveland Clinic knows that she is your primary care provider so that those things can be linked by way of information. It's a huge help. Lissy currently has 86 residents that she provides services to, but she's also open to receive new residents under her case management. Willowbrook Court, they are now open officially for their annual survey. So the window opens from 9 to 15 months after their last survey, that they are open to receiving 3 to 5 state surveyors come into the building. Sometimes it's even more than that, along with federal surveyors. So they're in the process of preparing for that 4-day-long survey. What they do at this point is they really drill down. They have access to what we call critical element pathways. They're the same tools that our surveyors use when they come to survey the skilled nursing facility, so that they have an opportunity to get ahead of anything that may be identified. And if something is identified, it's not if, it's when something is identified, because we love to be perfect, but unfortunately, that's really hard to do consistently. If something is identified, they work through the quality assurance performance improvement process. They come up with performance improvement plans. They work through those plans to make sure that they're tracking and trending and identifying better, more efficient ways to get things done. And then hopefully, by really using that process consistently and vibrantly, when the surveyors come in, we've already identified it, and we can show the prove-its to say, we've identified it, this is how we work through the process. And more times than not, if it's well documented, they may say, great, you found it, we found it too, and there's no subsequent citation, and that's what we want. A little bit more about Willowbrook Court. How many of you are familiar with the term step-down unit? Yes. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but that's the term that used to be used, step-down unit. So picture this. You're discharged from the hospital. You need inpatient services, and you're on this specialized unit to receive those services. And then once you receive those services, once you've rehabbed to your prior level of function, Jill's looking at me because she understands all of these terms. Once you reach your prior level of function, or the best functionality that you can, given your new onset of circumstances, then you're moved from that specialized unit either to your home or to another part of the building. Well, that's what's going to happen at Willowbrook Court effective March 1st. We're going to have a specialized unit that provides inpatient Medicare Part A services. Now, some of you may have Medicare replacement plans. That's also where you will be, on a distinct household, which is Biscayne at this point, on that household receiving those specialized services. So if you have any questions, I can answer those at the end, but that happens on March 1st. So if you're a temporary resident there, just there for rehab, that's where you'll be. When you get better, hopefully you're able to go home. If you're a long-term resident there now, but you need Medicare services, inpatient services, you'll be moved from your home in Willowbrook Court to this specialized unit until you're better. So only Medicare Part A or Medicare replacement residents will be on this unit. So Lisa in therapy and her team did a wonderful job with Thrive Screening for independent living residents. We had 15 people that weren't scared to get their free Thrive Screening last month. It's a free service. It's really the baseline to show you if you have any opportunities to receive additional therapy services for strengthening or whatever the case may be. But it's a free service that's offered to you annually. Lisa and her team, if they have recommendations for you, then of course they'll give you those recommendations and help you with a referral from your physician if their services are needed. Some of the other services that therapy offers, they have a great pain recovery program in addition to pelvic health program. Now, I won't get into the meat of the pelvic health program, but we've had great success with rehabbing people for pelvic health. But if you have any specific questions about either one of those programs, feel free to reach out to Lisa and her team. So we're winding down right now for the homestead exemptions to be turned in. We'd like to be able to turn those forms in by the end of this week to the state of Florida. It helps tremendously with your monthly maintenance fees. So if you have not turned that form in, if you haven't completed the form, just stop by and see either Alexis or Diane. They'll help you get the form filled out. We'll notarize it. And then, as I mentioned, we'll ship those off at the end of the week. January sales, the sales team did a wonderful job. They had an event, 101 event that explains all of the offerings that we have here on campus available to prospective residents. Typically, they only have maybe about 10 to 15 people that attend. This last event, they had about 30 attendees, so well received and well attended. They had new priority list members sign up. We had 11 of those. And then we had 5 people that did their unit selection contracts. So we did receive the certificate of occupancy for villas 5 and 6. Do we have any new villa residents here? Is Citrus Blossom Villa residents in here? Well, so far, villas 1 and 2 have moved in. Villas, those that will occupy villas 3 and 4, they're all set but have chosen not to move in quite yet. And as I mentioned, we just received earlier this week, or late last week, received the certificate of occupancy for villas 5 and 6. So those residents should be moving in short order. The schedule is right on target now. The biggest hiccups happened, of course, with the first 2 villas. And now that we know what everyone is looking for by way of the county inspections, the process is a lot smoother. So I hesitate to give you a date, but we're looking at spring to be finished with the project completely, which is a lot sooner than our OBT project was finished. So it's exciting to be able to really see it come to fruition. I do need your help. If I'm not mistaken, it was Topsy that used to keep track of all of our volunteer hours. I want to say that it's Claudia now. Does anyone know who keeps track? It is Claudia. Okay, she's not here, so I'll get in touch with her. But I did want to remind you, because a lot of you in this room volunteer in some capacity or another. It really does help with our not-for-profit status to show these volunteer hours, and we have so many of you that do great work. If you could really start tracking, if you wish, I know a lot of you do it, just out of love for doing it, but if you could track those hours and make sure that they're in the book. If I'm not mistaken, the book is right across from the administrative offices. Even if you just want to put a lump sum every month, if you could help us out with that, I'd appreciate it. So I have given approval for the tiki huts to be repaired. They look so sad. Oh my gosh, they look so sad. But we did find a vendor to be able to do it. We got the quotes. Now we're just trying to figure out when they can be here on campus to do the work. I'm hoping that they can come out within a week or so to get them done, and it'll be another area that's refreshed for you to take advantage of. So the EV chargers around campus, we have to figure out a way to, we needed to figure out a way to lock them. I'm not sure if it was team members with electrical vehicles or visitors of residents with electrical vehicles that would use our charging stations. Well, now we're gonna have to, we found a way to put locks on them so that only our residents and authorized staff can use those charging stations. We're also looking into putting an additional charging station over on the east side of the campus. So more to come on that, but I did want you to know, I know I had a couple people ask about the EV charging station, so that's kind of where we are now with that. But we do have a way to lock them down. I just want to make sure that everyone is equipped with the information. Anyone that would like a key to the lock can have it. There's one key that will be mastered for every lock here on campus, so it doesn't matter where you are, you'll be able to use that charging station. But it will only be for our residents and authorized staff. We have Olympiacs that's coming up, and I know that historically, those in the Panhandle would come here, and we would beat them horribly. But now it's our turn to go up to the Panhandle, not just to beat them at their community, but an opportunity to really see what their community looks like. You know, I'm sure while you're up there, you'll make some comparisons, come up with some great ideas about things that we should do that they currently do. But I really want to encourage us to represent Indian River Estates. We still have some time. The events will be held in May, the week of the 17th. So it is a few days because we are traveling to the Panhandle. But if you're interested in competing, please see Robin. Tryouts will be coming up soon. We want to make sure that we're prepared. So we are nearing making a decision about a IT person for our campus. Whew, that was rough. It didn't take as long as I thought. We have an internal candidate. No final decisions have been made. I do want this person to have an opportunity to kind of sit down and meet and talk with our techie residents. I see one right in the back of the room, Sid. I'll be contacting you, Art Broadhurst, I'll be contacting you, just so that you can share some historically what some of the challenges were. This person, I think, has a great temperament, great attitude, very knowledgeable, had some previous history prior to coming here, has been great, a great team member here so far, but really aspires to be in the IT realm. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll make the final decision and then move forward with bringing this person on board for our IT purposes. And I'd like to report that Channel 95 at Willowbrook Court is fully operational. And that happened in short order. It happened through the efforts of Dave Ruck. He is a gentleman from IT that has been coming down to assist us since Guyton left. He was able to order the new equipment that was needed, have it installed, and they currently have Channel 95 there. So great. You happy, Nancy? Okay. K4 Connect. I just want to remind you, if you have not opted in, and K4 Connect equipment will be installed in every residence apartment that has opted in. It's going to take the place of your resident check-in button that's on your wall. Now, if you live in I building, you probably already have this, so ignore everything that I'm saying. But if you still have the button and you're using the button for your primary check-in, then please opt in. If you don't opt in when we go full speed ahead, then we won't make those calls to check on you if we don't see any movement between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single day. So that system is going away. That's what the K4 Connect is. That's the base function of the K4 Connect. It has so much more capability and ability, but that's how we're going to use it out of the gate. So if you haven't done that yet, please make sure that you stop by the administrative office to pick up the paperwork and opt in as soon as maintenance gets that information. Then they'll make an appointment, they'll come to your apartment, do the installation, and then you're all set until the go live. Once we go live, of course, we'll let all of our residents know when that date is, and then those old buttons will come out. Yes, yes. You have a button now, is that correct? Okay. Hi, Bernie.
Hi, Carolyn, if we have a question, as I do, about, where they're going to hook this up and everything. I saw a brief YouTube or whatever that said, one thing goes over the microwave, and if we use the cabinet over the microwave and want it in a cabinet like over the refrigerator that we can't reach, is there flexibility or not?
There is flexibility. There is flexibility. There are some optimal places that have been identified in apartments to put that equipment, but they'll work with you. And for those of you that have pets, and don't want to pick up the sensors and such, they'll work with you on the placement of that sensor as well. Good question, Bernie. So Dave and the new IT person will play a huge part in the implementation and getting this off the ground. So with the timeline of bringing a new IT person on and the go live for K4, we're looking at hopefully by the end of March, okay? So it's extremely important that you get your opt-in forms. Quick update on the ATM. There was some more activity compared to my last report. Not great, but shows some improvement. Over at East, there were 50 transactions. Over at West, there were 42 transactions for the month of January. So our break even is 150 per machine. One of the things that we have also done as a corporation is to renegotiate the service charge. The service charge now, instead of $3, is $2. So hopefully that's a little bit of enticement for those that have to pay service charges to know that the service charges have been lowered. So we still have them for right now. Let's try and use them so that we don't lose them, but no guarantees. I just wanted to give you a report on the progress or not that we're making. So I now get, and most of you know this, I get the ARP publication. So the top 3 scams for older adults, and I said older adults because that includes me now too, governmental impersonation scams, sweepstakes scams, and robocalls. So does anyone in here know where the scams happen the most? Where? Florida, here. The most, in the state of Florida. So I will keep singing this. I will keep talking about the scams. I mean, my mother just got a call the other day that I told her, please, why are you even talking to these people? I'm telling you, don't talk to these people. And you're like, oh, she said to call her back. I'm like, don't call her back. Please don't call her back. So I'll continue to share this information because clearly it's a problem, not just here, the exposure is not just here at Indian River Estates, but throughout the states in general. So for you ACETs for the month of February, I know Ryan looks sad, but I don't know. He's not always that sad looking. He's very much a delight. We had a resident that wanted to acknowledge him. He's courteous consistently. He's very helpful, always displaying loving kindness. When I come to the bistro, Ryan goes above and beyond to make sure she's satisfied and has everything that they need. Darren. Darren is in maintenance. Darren has 2, you aced it. Darren is always polite and professional. He makes me feel like a valued member of the community. He goes above and beyond without seeming rushed or annoyed. In other words, he's very nice. Thank you. The other one for Darren, Darren installed a new seal on my door. He was very pleasant, did the job quickly and correctly. He is a great employee to have on our team. Alexis is our concierge over at East, is the best employee. She knows everything about everything and anything at Axe and is always willing to answer any questions residents may have with a smile. My husband thought she should be the new director when Axe was looking many years ago. Another one for Alexis, being the go-to person. She's calm, cool in control, knowledgeable about all the important things. She's always friendly and supportive. Thank you. Then we have Jake that works at maintenance. Jake cleaned my patio and did a wonderful job. The patio never looked so clean and organized. He is also a great real asset at Indian River Estates. He's helpful, fast, and pleasant. He's a great man and a real keeper. I don't know if she's talking about Jake's work or Jake. And then we have Lissy, our nurse practitioner. While I was very sick with COVID, Lissy was a godsend for me. She is my primary care provider, and she prescribed the perfect medications for my unique condition during that time. I am very grateful for her help. And then we have Shannon, the RN that works with Home Health. Shannon continuously shows compassion to the residents in the community. She always puts a smile on their face and goes above and beyond. And then last but not least, we have Maddie. Maddie is great. She is a server over at East. She served 12 people in 12 minutes. She offers great service, is a hard worker, and she's dedicated. So with that, I will open it up for questions. They don't all come at the same month. They don't all come at the same month. Neil.
I got the mic. You were going to give us some information regarding podiatrists that you were investigating?
Yeah, I'd hope that, I had a final decision by this meeting. As I mentioned, I don't have a final decision, but I do have a meeting next week with the office manager and some of the people at the provider's office. So as soon as I know more, I will be sure to communicate it. I know it's a hot button item.
Would you add bridge to the Olympiacs, if you can?
I know you did ask that.
And the second thing is, I tried to use the ATM the other day,
Yes.
and it declined my card. I went to the PNC Bank, and it worked just fine.
I was gonna say, did you have enough cash in there?
I had no change.
No, they were supposed to be on campus to do some upgrades, particularly because they couldn't do the reduction in the service charge remotely. So there was something that they needed to do with the system here. So, thank you.
Yes, got a question. The gazebo over here at Hollywood and Vine has been taped off for several months. Is there something wrong there, or is it going to be fixed?
Yes, we actually just got a quote for the repair, and I'll be looking into that to see when they can come in to repair it. Yes,
When are we
sir.
going to get the results of the resident survey?
Oh, I'm looking over here, I'm sorry. The resident survey that took place months ago, I have been asking. The numbers are being compiled. That's not done at the community level. That's done by the corporate office. His name is Bill Tamulonis. So I don't have an answer to that.
Yes, I would like to know what ACT's plan is to isolate ourselves from those construction going on visually.
Oh, the buffers, you mean?
Yeah, the buffer.
The buffers.
Is there a
Well,
plan? for that?
We do have a preliminary plan, but the idea is to wait to see what buffers they put in before we enhance our buffers on our side. And to be honest with you, I don't know at this juncture what they have planned by way of buffers. So as soon as their buffering goes in, then we'll be able to assess our plan and get something in to isolate you. Okay.
Are there, two quick questions about the new villas.
Yes.
Where and when are their cubbies going to be?
Their cubbies will be in the same general area. Jeff Arnold, he's in the back of the room. He will be working on that.
And do they have channel 95?
That is a good question.
Because if they're getting it, I would also like to see several of the north villas that have not had it.
Yeah, I don't believe so. None of the villas get it. If I'm,
I get it.
you get it. You
Yeah,
get it.
but newer people that have come in have.
Let me check into that. We'll get IT involved to see
Please.
what they can do
And
about
the
that.
reason I'm saying is so many people, well, there are people that don't have computers, and we're stressing how much we can communicate on Channel 95, but that's not going to help the people that don't have computers or the enhancement of 95 either.
I can
mean,
have IT look into
yeah.
it. We have a question right here.
This isn't a question, but I have a commendation for Therese.
Oh.
I think she's been doing a great job with the quality and the quantity of our entertainment, and I'd like to commend her for that.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Oh, wait, we have Jerry here, and I think that's the last one because, oh, and one here.
You're talking about the opt-in, opt-out. If we're already opt-in with the red button, do we have to have a separate
Yes.
opt-in again?
Yes.
A second time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mhm.
Get these. Good morning. I'm going to have to use these notes for a minute, but I would like to point out an improvement that I think should be made in our cafe here in the West Building. You know how we were advised during the COVID epidemic or pandemic that we need to wash our hands frequently and such. Well, there's an improvement, I think, that we need to do in our cafe. Over the weekend, I happened to be over in the East Building at the East Bistro, and I noticed that they have paper placemats. And this is for lunch. I think they also have it for breakfast and dinner. Do you know if that is the case?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. But at least they had it for lunch, and this wasn't a special party. The placemats with the flatware wrapped in the napkins. I'm sorry?
Microphone closed.
Okay. This seemed like a really hygienic way to have our tables presented in the cafe. And so I went over there this morning and just wanted to pick up with one of the placemats that we normally have, and this was on the top of the placemat pile. And you see it's soiled. I don't know how often these placemats are washed. So my point is that when you go there for a meal and someone does have a placemat and you're waiting for the table, then when they get up, you sit down and you put your utensils on the placemat that has already been used. This, to me, is not good. It's not hygienic. And I suggest that we replace these placemats with paper placemats. I know they cost a little bit of money, very little, but isn't the hygienic and health reason trumping the cost?
Oh, you can do, Jerry.
I don't know who you are, you didn't introduce yourself. However, I'd like to ask the question of you. Have you talked to the culinary committee about this situation? Or have you just come here directly?
My name is Nancy Shaver, and I don't know of the culinary committee. We live in the North Phyllis. Is there a culinary committee in the North?
There is a culinary committee, and then you can also attend the food forums or absolutely get in touch with Jeff or Tim so that they can address it more readily. Absolutely.
That's okay. Didn't know that.
No, that's okay. We'll chat more after the meeting. Okay. All right, so we have the raffle. We'll do this really quickly. We are raffling off.
Woohoo!
We are raffling off
We are raffling off flowers
the
first. Nice
flowers
roses.
first. So hopefully some gentlemen in here will get some flowers for their special lady.
Okay, ticket number 756442.
Oh, it's you.
All right.
Wonderful. Pretty lady in purple right here in the front. All right, next raffle is for the chocolate.
756496.
Uh-oh, Jill, you get flowers.
Oh.
All right.
It's candy. Ooh, candy.
Thank you so
That's
much.
nice.
I know we went over the time. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, I'll stick around.
You didn't see those.
There she is. Hello there. You coordinated that, the blue? You got your blue and your blue and your, how are you?